Okay, I'm getting ready to bore our Lincoln Continental 1948 292 V12 engine, and we got our pistons from Eggy, and I mic'd them. We're going 60 over, and I mic'd the pistons, and they are exactly 2 thousandths undersize from the nominal bore size. Standard bore on a 292 Lincoln Continental V12 is 2-inch 875. Okay, so 2 7/8. So if we add 60 thousandths to that, that's going to be 2-inch 935 as a nominal size. So I read Eggy's instructions, which I have many times in other jobs, which you always should do, and they basically reiterate where they want you to measure the piston, and they basically say the clearance is set if you bore to the nominal size. Which, yes, they're exactly right, but you always should check. I mic'd every single piston. They mic all the same because you never know what happens, shipping, whatever. You know, yes, they say there's 60 thousandths over, but, you know, who knows? So it's up to the machinist to make sure everything's right because it's our baby if something's wrong. So, but anyway, I've got all these mic'd up. They have a specified clearance, okay, that they want of 2.5 thousandths. Okay, so we like to go 1 over that, but they also recommend that you can go half over or 1 under. So we're going to finish this at 2-inch 935.5. So that's going to be my finish bore size on this engine. Walk over here to the boring bar. Since this engine is a 75-degree V8, or excuse me, V12, we can't use our Rottler bar because our Rottler bar can either do straight up and down, 90-degree or 60-degree. So even though that's a good bar, we can't use it in this application. So we had to dig out of the shed the old KwikWay FN bar that we've had for 30 years. This is a good old bar. It bores off of the deck surface. So I've got it on the stand here, and being as I'm off the deck surface, the angle of the block of the V doesn't matter. But since the Rottler bar bores off of the oil pan rail, it's mission critical that you either got those 3 choices, 60, 90, or straight up, or 180, I guess. But anyway, I've got the boring bar set up. What I've done is I've got the mic right here, all right, for this old KwikWay FN. I've got it set to 2-inch 934. Okay, right there is what I got it set to. So I'm going to leave 1.5 for honing. Don't want to leave too much because that's a lot of work, but you want to leave too little because you want to give a nice crosshatch pattern. So we're going to go ahead and fire up our old school bar here. Flip the toggle switch, turns it on. I've already ran it down, so we'll go ahead and engage the spinner. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and flip this guy. That'll pop in. There she goes. Okay, that handle starts turning. And we're cutting. So once we're done cutting, we're going to measure and see where we're at. Make sure that our bar is cutting what it says it's cutting at. So I'll be back after that. Okay, we're finished with the first hole. Come out pretty nice. Let's check the bore, see what our boring bar is doing. See, it's cutting about 5 thousandths under, so each big line is 5 thousandths, so let's do, make sure it's boring not out of round. Yep. So see, she's cutting about 5 under. So what I'm going to do, since I set the bar up to cut 934, I'm going to add 4 thousandths to that. So I'm going to set the bar to cut 938, even though it's cutting under. That way it saves, because this one here, I've got to hone 5 thousandths out. So that's a lot of work. So, okay. So what do we want to do on the next one? All right, I've got all 12 holes bored. I reset my bar to cut 938, even though it's cut 934. And I'm looking for about half to 1 under, which is what I have. That's perfect. So, but we discovered something here as I was doing this. The driver's side bank come out great, but one cylinder on the passenger side bank, I don't know if the previous machine job, the boring bar that they, whoever they used was bad, but look at this. It missed. Oh, this is gonna be hard to tell with this camera, but there you go. See down in there, way down there, that's about 10 thousandths out. So of course we measured it. You know, this thing was previously bored. This thing doesn't have hardly any miles on it since it was done last, wherever it was done. But it had absolutely no oil pressure. It was noisy. It ran like crap. The valves weren't seating. It was just a very, very, very poor workmanship on this engine. And it's too bad because this is such a rare engine. It's not like you can just go buy one of these. But you can see down there at the bottom of the bore where I got the light, it didn't hit. So I'm going to have to probably sleeve this hole. The rest of them came out great. But to have that kind of issue down at the bottom of the hole like that, that sucks. And that's where the piston lives. So, you know, that could knock or anything, you know, piston slap. So we're going to have to fix that. So I'm probably going to have to sleeve this hole. We're already 60 over. So maybe we can get a 3/32 sleeve and sleeve her up. But I'm going to see what we can do. But that's not cool. Other than that, we're in good shape. But hey, that's what happens when you work on a lot of old stuff. Things happen. Okay, I want to check all the workmanship on this engine. So I set up our AG 300 gauge here on our Sun and Rod machine to check the big ends of the rods. I noticed on some of the rods, the machining, there was no machining in certain areas. So that's a red flag. So this one I just checked. I didn't even finish checking the rest of them, but this one here, basically how this works. All right. 2-inch 422 thousandths to 422.5 is the spec. So I set my gauge up. 0 represents 422. It's not bad. But watch as I rotate this thing like 90 degrees. Look at that. It's a thousandths wide. I mean, the green is clearance. So it's a thousandths, almost a thousandths and a half bigger out of round. See? Wow. So we're gonna have to go through all these rods probably. You can see that they were machined, but I don't know what's going on. This thing had no oil pressure, you know. That's why we're checking all this stuff. So gotta do what we gotta do. All right, so I've resized all the rods. This is just what it looks like when it got done. See, that's perfect. I set it up, the 0 represents 422. It's 422 to 422.5. So, and you see where I put that thing, that's perfect. So, we got her done. Good enough.